So you can see here in this data repository we are just creating the connection, executing the command, right? So it's kind of repository where we are putting our data to this. So this is a simple data access layer, and here is core, data access layer core. Inside that I created an interface, iData repository, and also I created an abstract class for holding the data, right? So this is the data access layer core, and this is the data access layer. So you can see here in data repository I am just inheriting iData repository here, right? So and I am using iData, that is here, and you can see here in data access layer entity project. So you guys know you might require many classes. It may be one-to-one mapping, or it may be one-to-n mapping with the database table. So I created one data just by inheriting this one. iData. I just created data, and since in this iData I have ID, and in this dial.entity I have description, and it is totally mapped from my table iData in SQL Server one-to-one mapping. See ID, description, and here you can see ID and description. So this is the simple data access layer having only one repository, and my data access layer divided in three parts. One for entities, classes. Those are getting mapped into the database table, and one is database core, data access layer core. Inside that I am just putting on my interface, and I have all the implementation in dial, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to test these data repository, and I'm going to test this create data, update data, delete data, and get data by ID. So I just created here one Nunit project, right? Nunit project. So if you are not aware about Nunit project, so you can go back to my YouTube channel, and you can see one of my video in which I clearly mention I clearly defined each and everything how you can set up any unit in Visual Studio. So I will not discuss those things here, so I will continue from there. So if you don't know about an unit, how to configure an unit in Visual Studio, then you can go back with my in my YouTube channel, and you can see from there. So I'm just supposing you are aware about an unit. So you can see here in an unit what I included. I included an unit framework, right? So you can get the information how to add an unit framework. So you can just take a NuGet package manager command, and you can run inside the NuGet package manager console window, and you can get it an unit framework. And I have already include an inject here, so let me remove it and let me add it. So here is the command. So I'm just taking this command from here, and I will add it from here. Go NuGet package manager console, and let me clear it, and let me run this command, and it will. So it is saying because I have already included this NInject module in my project, so that's why it is saying it is already included, right? So let me remove it first. Let me go back here, and where the package is, so you can see here is the package, and NInject, you can see here the NInject. So let me delete all the packages from here. Let me delete all the packages, right? And okay, so let me close this window. And let me clear it first, package manager, and let me open again my Visual Studio, and let me open this one again. So I will run that command again, and I will see I will run this command again. Let me run my package manager, so that each and everything should be here. Let me add my Nunit command here. Package is missing, so you can see here some Nunit package are missing from solution. Click to restore from your online package source. So let's click on the restore, so it will restore all the packages in my project. See, so all the packages has been restored. So all the package has been restored, and let me run this, and I will target my Nunit TDD demo, and let me click it. And so there is something, let me build it. So still I'm not able to get NInject, right? So let me run that command again. So uninstall, let me uninstall first. So now NInject has uninstalled, so let me install it again. So it should install, yes. So now you can see here NInject module has installed, right? So now you can see NInject DLL is coming here inside the reference of this project, and from here you can see NInject, Nunit, and adapter. So we will just concentrate on this and NInject. So I just created here two test classes. Inside that I am testing my data repository, right? Data repository dial. So you can see here I reference dial code, dial, and dial entities. So each and everything related to dial has been referenced in my test project. You can see here. So, and also you can see here I have a app.config file. Inside that I have a connection string. So Let me demonstrate you what I'm doing here. So you can see here, this is the test picture, and this is the data repository test write only. So I just segregated in two class, one for read only, one for write only. So in read only I will test only get method, in write only I will test all the write method, I mean create, update, delete, and in read I can test I will test only get method. So see, in the constructor of this test project, what I'm doing, I'm just retrieving the connection string and I'm passing the data repository. So you can see, since I have already referenced this there, so I am able to access this class, and I'm passing the connection string, and I'm getting the object of this. So since data repository require connection string, so I'm just passing this. So I will debug this one, and I will show you whether this test is getting passed or not. So you can see here, I will debug it. So you can see here, now I'm in data repository. In data repository I'm getting connection string, preparing command, and opening connection, executing command, and returning the last inserted ID, right? So it is working, and you can see my create data test passed, right? So question is how we implement dependency injection in this scenario, and what are the benefit of dependency injection in this scenario. So let me tell you something. For example, if you do not use dependency injection in this scenario, so consider those scenario like if I came into my dial project, and let's say I rename my class by this way. Let's say I renamed my repository, and let's try to build, and let's see what happened. There are multiple errors, right? So since we are not using dependency injection, so if I change something in the dial implementation, so I have to correct each and everything manually. Are you getting my point? I have renamed my existing data repository, and in that case I have to rename all the reference in the test project. Say, see, here two places here and two places here. You can think about if you have multiple test classes, or you may have multiple controller if you are using MVC project, then everywhere you need to change the name. I mean, you have to rename all the reference of data repository. So this is the problem. Even if you directly reference dial into this test project, then if you modify something inside it, then you have to compile it, and again you have to reference it, right? So you can say your test project, I mean your user interface, if you consider Nunit as a user interface, then your user interface is tightly coupled with your data access layer, right? So this is the problem with this architecture. So question is how we can get rid of this problem. So I'm sure you guys are thinking how to get rid of this problem. So let me show you how to get rid of this problem. You can get rid of this problem by using dependency injection. So for dependency injection, I am using NInject here today in this tutorial. You can use any other framework as well. It's depend on your requirement and your choice. But here I will use NInject. So let me show you how to get rid of this problem that has been already communicated to you guys. So let me undo the changes, right? Let me undo the changes and let me remove the dependency. So I will remove this one because most of the dependency is here. So in this layer del.entity there will be would be minimum changes, and as well in dial.core also there will be the would be the minimum changes, but most of the changes will be here in the dial. So if I exclude this dial from my test project, or you can say your interface layer, then problem will solve. So but question is, I do require dial, I do require this layer inside this. So question is how we can decouple test project and dial. So let me remove it from here. So if you run it, then you should get multiple error, and you are getting multiple error. So because dial is not there, so you are not able to resolve the data repository, right? So for that, what I did, I just created a dependency resolver, and inside dependency resolver I am referring dial core and dial, right? So dial core and dial is here, and here I'm also using NInject for dependency injection. Since I'm introducing one more layer, dependency resolver, so in the dependency resolver I'm referring dial core and dial, and also I included an inject DLL so that I can decouple dial and test project. Also I can create the NInject module. So I have already told you, if you want to include this one, then you have to run this command in your NuGet package manager console window, as I did. You can see here, as I did. So you have to do as well. So once you included an inject DLL here, then you will get an inject module object, and what you need to do, you just need to create your own class, and as I created dial an inject module, and you need to inherit an inject module. So once you inherit an inject module, then you will get the load method. You have to override the load method, or inside the load method you can register your repository. I mean, you can just register or you can just map your interface with your concrete classes. So here I'm mapping iData repository with the data repository and passing the connection string. So here NInject provide gives you a provision to pass constructor with argument. So since data repository have constructor argument, so I just passing it through a Fluent API of the NInject with constructor argument. So I'm just giving this name should match. It means this connection string, the key, I mean the string name and object value, right? You can see here from here you can see here string name and object value. So this name must be matched with this name. If not, if it doesn't match, then something wrong will happen. So keep it in your mind. This connection string must match with this connection string. I mean, the name of the connection string should match. See, connection string and connection string, these two things must match, right? And here I'm passing the connection string by reading the app-config file. Since this DLL will call from test project, so the connection string will be fetched from here, right? So that's all. So you just need to create the NInject module. So our dependency is ready. Our dependency resolver is ready to remove the dependency. So what you need to do, we just need to include the dependency resolver. So you just need to include the dependency resolver. So here is the dependency resolver. So let's get rid of that problem that previously I have shown you. So let me come to the test fixture, and let me, since we will not get the data repository object because we don't have a DLL inside our test project. See, so we cannot get this one. So but we can get iData repository because we have dial.core DLL, so we can reference it, right? So previously I was using a data repository and passing the connection string. So I will not require it. Let's comment it. And here one more thing. Here is the NInject config, right? And you can see in NInject. Let me remove this line of code. Right, let me remove this line of code and let me uncomment this one, right? And this dial inject module is the part of dependency resolver. So in dependency resolver we are registering our repository, right? So here is kernel, right? Here we are registering our repository, right? So that's it. So and NInject config is just loading our NInject module and returning the kernel, right? So let me show you. Here is the NInject. Here is the NInject config file, config class, NInject config class, and here is the static method in which we are loading the NInject module and returning the kernel. You can say this is the kernel, this is the kernel loading, and we are returning the kernel, right? So let me reference NInject. So now you can see, now we are not depending on data repository, but we are depending on iData repository. So let me run the project. See, this is the beauty of this framework. We didn't change much. We didn't change much things. What we just changed, we just created a dependency resolver and created an inject module, and we just removed the dial layer and just included the dependency resolver, right? And here you can see, our test project should work basically. So let me, since we didn't rebuild it, we hadn't rebuilt it, so let me build it.